really seen the pictures of Marine who was paying child support for a kid that wasn't his for 15 years standard. But he's trying to handle his business. It's crazy how political this is. That you got to go to Congress just to get a bill passed so that men who aren't biological fathers of children can have the opportunity to get their money back, or at least to stop paying for a kid that does not belong to them. There was something that happened, I think, in Memphis. That's where it was, where a guy wrote a book about the situation, how bad there. 50% of the women who more than 50% of the women who take a fraternity test fail. Now, it's sad when a female fails a fraternity test, and if the fathers are multiple choice. That's kind of bad. But there was another brother there who was trying to do the same thing, get a law passed, and it was blocked by this feminist woman group that blocked it, saying that it shouldn't be possible. For some reason, women have this weird thing about paternity tests. I was watching another situation where a guy was debating a female on Fox News, and she was like, if you worry about the kid not being yours, you have other issues. That's not the point. Men are paying for kids that don't belong to them, and that's pretty damn crazy, but it is what it is.
Support for a child that was not his. That's what one veteran says happened to him, and now lawmakers are moving forward with a law that could help. Tisha Lewis joins us tonight with a story you'll see only on Fox. Tisha.
Well, Bob and Robin, under the current law, a birth certificate is considered a binding legal document, and signing it, even a verbal acknowledgement, binds a parent to that child. Tonight, meet the man who says he learned the hard way. For more than a decade, former Marine Romel Smith says he's paid nearly $30,000 in child support for this little girl who's now 15 years old. But there's a catch.
Due to a little prompting from my mother, and I got the DNA test, and it proved that the little girl was not mine.
We're not revealing the teen's identity since she's underage. Court documents show Smith fought his case all the way to the state Supreme Court, which ruled that a man who signs a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity, like a birth certificate, cannot later seek to undo the acknowledgement on the basis of DNA test results.
My lawyers were going to court for me while I was overseas in the Iraqi war, and I got told about it while I was over there, and honestly, I almost cried.
That there would be less cases in the parentage court system or the child support court system if there were mandatory DNA testing.
But a glimmer of hope lies ahead for Smith and countless others. SB 1867. The bill amends the Parentage Act of 1984 and passed the Senate Wednesday.
What would happen then, the father would have the right to go to have the child support order thrown out.
Despite a federal indictment for bank fraud, State Representative LaShawn Ford says he's still working and is focused on getting this bill passed in the House next week.
Every dime that I pay should be refunded to me with interest, but that's just my personal opinion, and I hope it gets pushed through.
We spoke with the teen's mother via phone, who declined an on-camera interview but tells me, quote, Smith hasn't been in her life since she was 4. Why would he come back into her life if this is what he was going to do? She disputes the authenticity of the DNA test results and maintains Smith is her daughter's father. Romel Smith is now married and expecting. The teen at the center of the controversy is from a previous relationship. This is all the result of a default paternity order which happened when Smith missed the initial child support hearing. If the Senate bill is passed, it would be effective immediately. However, there would be a 2-year statute of limitations.
Which means you'd have to say within 2 years, this is not my child, I want to fight this.
Absolutely.
Wow. All
Thank
right.
you,
Thank you,
Tisha.
Tisha.
So before I get into the whole play the video of what happened to the brother, Nikki Woods rather, from the Time Warner Joining Show, she's I guess a blog. She's trying to get into the blogosphere and do current events, talk like this and things of this nature. She's a radio host on the Time Warner Morning Show. She does a lot of, basically she's another single black woman with 2 children from a previous marriage who's single, who can't find a man because her time and her attention is divided because of her career, and most black men are on her level. That's who she is right there, Nikki Woods rather. But she's trying to pontificate on this story of this brother, and I love how I like how she's about to put that little spin on the situation, the story, and how she's I mean, she's wrong for one, 'cause she didn't obviously do her research, because the guy hasn't been involved with the child, like personally, since she was 4. But he has been still paying child support. He found out that it wasn't his when she was 4, but he still had to beat the case, and he's been fighting all these years to get that taken care of, almost 11 years. But let's just see what she has to say about the situation. It's Chris Ross, Jermaine Jackson, Terrell Owens, Usher, Halle Berry are all either rich and are famous people embroiled in high-profile, sometimes bitter child custody support battles. And I was just, I was about to hit send. A new article alert hit my email box. The headlines read: Steve Nash, child support NBA star, contests support payments for spoiled kids. Every once in a while, there's a case involving an ordinary people who will make the news, like this one involving former U.S. Marine Romel Smith. He says that he nearly paid $30,000 in child support for a child who isn't his. He found out that the 15-year-old girl wasn't his daughter when she was 4 years old, and that's when he stopped the connection with the little girl, I assume. But after she was 4 years old, and after his own mother prompted him to get a paternity test. Oh, so sometimes mama do know best. Mr. Smith has gained a lot of sympathy from men and women who are enraged over the fact that he was forced to be financially responsible for a child that he did not father. Or did he father her? Alright, so here comes all the logic and reason is gone from here on. It's all feelings and emotions. I guess it depends on how you look at it. We get too caught up in the parents who want to have little to concern about the kids' involvement. Not saying that $30,000 isn't a huge amount of money to pay, but if we took the money out of the equation, how would it change the story? I don't think he would probably care, because he's not spending money to take care of a kid that does not belong to him. Being that he's a Marine, he probably makes about $50,000 a year, or he was, and he's been paying $30,000. Well, he's paid up to $30,000 in child support. I think that money is a big part of this problem. But whether he gets his money back or not is less of an issue. What? To whom? To you? To what is his relationship will be with his daughter. With quotations. It's not his daughter. Now that the story has gone public, how will it impact her security, trust, and self-esteem issues? The mama should have thought about that before she played multiple choice on the paternity of who the father was. That's not his issue. But it says the laws may be flawed, yes they are, on the issue on, however, how easy it is for a man's name to be placed on a birth certificate and how difficult it is to get it removed. If it is proven that he's not the biological father of the child, but here's where I agree. If you raise a child as yours, if you have assumed responsibility for their livelihood, if you are the one they call daddy, you don't get to take that back. I'll read that one more again. If you have raised a child as yours, if you assume responsibility for their livelihood, if you are the one who they call daddy, you don't get to take that back. Okay, that's female logic for you. Now she goes on to tell her story. I'm a single mother, and if I began to add up the monthly mandatory cost of raising my children with not that much help from their dad, it would probably make my head spin. There's $500 a month for groceries. I'm pretty sure you eat a lot of that too. $300 a month on childcare. That's your problem. Throw in entertainment, clothes, basketball, not to mention the mortgage, lights, and bills, all of which you use, and wouldn't be that much different if they weren't there. Monthly trips to urgent care. That's something that's extra. Hey, they're 11 and 12 years old boys, and it really starts to add up. That's called parenting in life. What's your point? But I don't expect their fathers to share that expenses equally with me, because we have an agreement that works. To me, quality time spent with my son and their father is more important than dollars. When I hear about people who aren't in the same situation, explain why the father shouldn't do what they should do and shouldn't pay, I'm tempted to tell them how ridiculous they sound. Even in a good marriage, there's no true equality. Wow, I'm surprised she would actually admit that. And how much money each parent contributes to each children. Now, while I am not advocating that anyone be financially irresponsible, I also know that when it comes to matters of divorce and child custody issues, nothing is as simple as we would like it to be. The bigger picture is that we nurture our children. What is more important, more valuable, more difficult to measure is the time parents we want to spend or are allowed to spend with our kids. Women and men who keep their exes from seeing their children because they are behind in child support need to stop. That's also true. And dads especially who are purposely remove themselves from their children's lives because they can't contribute monetarily have got the whole thing twisted. If they've subtracted themselves for that reason, it's not of their own doing. It's because the mother's not letting them see the kid because they're not paying up the money. So, I don't know. It's not like they can do anything about that. If they go to the judge and say, I want to see my kid, and the judge will be like, yo, you got to pay, what can he or she do? Whether the father, Mr. Smith, who was duped by the system, and that black woman gets his money back or not, I hope he will remain a part of the life of the girl who knows him as dad. Well, again, she didn't do her research as a journalist because he hasn't been in the kid's life since she was 4, or he doesn't let her call her dad, I'm assuming, if he knows that she's no longer his father. I would just think, now, if he passed the positive role model, letting the legal matters come between them is a crime. I'll repeat that again. Mr. Smith, who was duped by the system, gets his money back or not. I hope he remains part of the life of a girl who knows him as dad, even though she's not his biological father, even though she should probably be curious to find out who her real father is because her mother decided to take multiple choice on a paternity test. If he was a positive role model, letting the legal matters come between them is a crime. A crime on whom? The system, who does not even let a man take his name off a birth certificate, even though when he's found not to be the father, or a woman who plays, again, multiple choice on deciding who she wants to be the father. This dude was in the military. That's guaranteed automatic child support. If they were married, it would have been alimony. He ain't even got nothing to say about it or do about it. Couldn't be the case. I'm pretty sure there's a reason why she chose the Marine to be the father of the child. I'm just saying. We can add up money and material things, but child opportunities and relationship with both the parents, whether by blood or not, is priceless. That sounds all beautiful, kittens, puppies, and rainbows, but it's not realistic. That is Mr. Rome right there, and I guess I'm assuming that's his new wife. I'll just read some of the comments from Nikki's Facebook on what people had to say. I mean, the reality is, which is what I commented was, he has no legal rights, and paternity tests should be mandatory in all child support cases. Seriously, like, it should be mandatory. I don't see how it's not. But Kevin took the words right out of my fingertips. All I can say is, fellas, if there's a slight doubt, get tested anyways. Another, Dorothy says, that's wrong. The woman should be accountable for her actions. She knows she slept with other men. That's sad. Got 8 likes. The child support system is a joke. I went through the same thing. Unfortunately, I had a DNA test done. I believe that the mother's souls have to repay the man back the same way she received, and the state doesn't assist men should sue the state. It should be mandatory to be a part of the child support process to verify. Side note, a woman should be able to put more men on child support than she can claim on her income taxes. Close your legs and stop the corporate prostitution. Oh. This issue of child support and paternity are both separate and all inclusive. It truly depends on the jurisdiction you're in, which is true. You can't be deemed not the biological parent, and you can be deemed not the biological parent and still be required to provide marital support if it can be proved that you were the primary source of the support for that kid. and in most states it's like 7-year rule. So that is crazy that even if you're not the biological father, if you're found to be the one taking care of a kid that's not yours, if you were married, even if not, I think in California you don't even have to be married, but other states you have to be married, or if you've been with that person for more than 7 years, you are responsible for taking care of that kid, even though it ain't yours. Stephanie says, well, it's sad. It's known fact that if you miss those appointments, you will automatically be deemed the father, but he can have it reversed. But the question is, did he sign the paternity papers at birth? I don't know what you're talking about, but I guess the whole reason why this went down is because he missed a hearing. But I'm pretty sure he missed the hearing because he was in the military, I assume. Sadly, this happens more often than not, and it's not published. From Kevin. Jacqueline says, sadly, they don't have the money to fight it. He spent all of his money paying child support. This person says, Nikki, this happens often all the time. As an attorney, I often have to argue cases just like this. The judicial system, but more specifically the family court division, is not set up in a ways that males, especially minority males, are truly heard and considered. Those courts are not remedies for the minority men, and so many times we lose simply because of who and what we are. And I guess I should have preferenced that and said that this comment has no bearing on deadbeat men who know they have kids and refuse to support them. Shameless. Stephanie says, well, in theory, he's doomed, but if the paternal father is known, the paternal father would have to motion the case up and have the legal father be removed from the birth certificate. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Jacqueline says again, once the paternity is established, he is not the father. They shouldn't have to pay. Whether or not they continue to stay in the child's life is a different story, but to be held accountable, no. Christina says, I said the mother, cause she should have been honest and let him know that it's possibility that he might not be the father. But some women these days are just so damn selfish and worry about the money instead of thinking about how it will or is going to affect the child. It's sad that some women make ish hard for the next person. The father of the child suffers in the long run. The father and the child suffers in the long run, and the father's new wife, because that's money being redistributed out of their income to take care of a child that does not belong to you. If you love the little girl and accept her as his daughter, even on the false pretenses, once can never turn it off. Love true. I don't know about all that. I think love is an act of the will, and you can turn it off if you choose to. It's not led by emotion, and it's accompanied by it. And I think logic can trump love any time. Although she wasn't his biological daughter, he does have an obligation. Okay, this is a dude too, Willie Torrey. He says, love, can't turn it off. She was the biological father, daughter's not. He does have an obligation to her after 15 years in her life. I guess people, again, don't read the story. He stopped contact after he found out in 4. He wasn't in her life, so to speak. So, no. Anyone can be a father. It takes a special person to be a dad. Silly nonsense. Don't get me wrong. She should have to pay back half that money, and he earned the right to be her dad. I don't think he want them problems. I don't think he want nothing to do with the kid. You make a great point, and one, if acceptance is taken, it is a done deal. But the bigger context is the piece of ish mother who would do this is quite frankly a piece of ish. The guy has no legal rights to the child, and trying to seek a relationship with the child would kind of contradict his case. Therefore, he should not be having any contact with the kid, because like you're saying, if you have formed a relationship and it proves that you can be pursued paternity. There was another case where a guy was an idiot and he got his lesbian friend pregnant, and they made an agreement verbally that he would have no kind of financial obligation to the kids, but he will be there as a role model. And that case, I don't know if it's still going on or not, but I guess the court's trying to make him pay child support because he started to be in the kid's life more than what would be argued as a mentor. So he made an agreement. He gave a lesbian a kid. The lesbian and her lover broke up, and eventually he spent more time being that the chick was out of the picture with his biological children. He gave her 2 of them. Did not have sex with the lesbo. He did it via how did they do it? He took his sperm to the bank, and I guess she did it through test tubes like that. So he didn't have sex with her or nothing like that either. Yet, because he got in the kid's life, according to them, too much, he ended up getting sued for child support, even though they made the agreement from day one that he wouldn't have to do that. That has to be. I can't even be mad at the system for trying to play him because he was stupid for doing that in the first place. It is what it is. But it says this. Ellis says this sucks. Everyone loses. What, Paula? No such thing. Yeah, some chick said something about getting something expunged like it's a damn felony. It don't work like that. And this person says there's no such thing as what you just said. Should have had a DNA done. You shouldn't really have to have a DNA done. If you're with a woman and she's your girl, you shouldn't have to have a DNA done. You should assume that is your kid. He had to sign the papers, but he has and still want to be responsible. He could just have gotten expunged. And that's the person who said what she said makes no sense. And she said $5,000. Anybody got money for that? The support system is a joke. I hear plenty of deadbeat dads, etc. But has any court checked to see how the money is spent? I got nothing to do with this, dude, Daryl. Mark gets it. Mom can reconnect with the biological dad, and the brother who's been paying will still be paying. Them 2 sorry jokers living off the dude whose child is not his. Shaking my head. Let's see. Kelly says this man was duped and it's unfair, and he had the right to decide if he wanted to be in a child's life. Why should he pay for support for a kid that isn't his? She should pay him back every penny, and she should be locked up for this huge lie she told. This is a pretty damn huge lie. It's like, I think it was Chris Rock said, or yeah, he's like, when women lie, dudes lie. He be like, I was at Tommy's house. When women lie, they be like, it's your baby. That's true. I think she should have fought hard. I think he should have fought harder. This is why men don't trust women. Now this crap, cause it cut up like this. Yeah, I have no clue what it means to pay for Mark child support that isn't yours. This article or topic is very sore spot because any woman who does this to a man isn't worth the time it takes to toss her aside. She's clueless to what she has done to the child. Jacqueline says, and it's always harder for the men when the state is involved. Very difficult situation to get out of. Absolutely. Kevin says, unfortunately, I saw this on Judge somebody and do this to this guy, but her explanation was the court rule is that in the best interest of the child, which is what they say it is. So if the judge feels like you're fighting for custody, you're a guy and you don't have enough money and the woman's new man has good money, the judge can say in the best interest of the child you can't have custody and the kid can be kidnapped and taken across state lines and you have no visitation rights. That's the whole concept of the best interest of the child. Anyways, if you have portrayed yourself as a father for years and in the best interest of the child to keep the stability, but the mother always has the option to drop the child support order, and if she chooses not to, despite knowing that you're not the father, then everyone loses except her. New rule, new deal. Men only listen to this lady you are eyeing or lusting at. She have a child or 2. They come with her, so make sure you're looking. Don't ever look those gifts from God, our Father. I don't understand what that meant. I can relate to this, says Anthony. The mother is at fault. Women stop laying down with different men, and then you will know who your baby father is. And that's the sort of thing that would not happen. I'm pretty sure she obviously knew that I think she knew it wasn't him, but like I said, he had a decent job. That's probably why she chose him. Multiple choice. I'm a proud father of 3, and I have my ups and downs, but as a child, having a one parent was the worst. Then the money I would have gone without and turned out okay, but my dad not at home was a doom and no effect. Not one remark here is anyone saying that confuses the 15-year-old girl going through. Who's my daddy? Yeah, ask your mama. It's that simple. I think she was wrong, says Cheryl. The paternity should have been handed with when the child was born. I agree. But how many men really think that their girl is lying to them about having a baby? I mean, come on. Yeah, only in Africa men get away with not making child support payments. Women, you need to form a coalition. The hell is he talking about? Last comment is he is at Monique Smith. He is at fault for allowing this to go on for $30,000 is a lot of money just to throw away without truly knowing if a child is yours. I'm not sure what state he's in. The laws protects him. He can simply just file a motion and get the child support taken off. This chick Monique has absolutely no idea what the hell she's talking about. And he found out when she was 4, to recap, and he's been trying to fight it for 11 years, and he's not winning because that's the way the system is set up. So everything she said was silly. Alright, this video is going to be long as hell. With that said, I just had to add Nikki's response to it because I just love how females like to put their emotional spin on things. It is what it is. She was wrong. He has every right to resent the woman. It's not the kid's fault. Absolutely, we all know that. But I can't blame the man if he doesn't want any contact with the child either. That's it.